Hello, I'm Paul Gray. I'm going to do this little video. It's a follow-up to a post I made on Vans Air Force in regards to ending up increasing your chances of survival in the event of an off-airport landing, also known as a crash. This here is my little survival kit, and we're going to go through what I have in the kit. The bag itself I got at Walmart. It's actually a bag that I believe is used for like pistol shooting, going to a pistol range, so forth. I'm going to take everything out on the bag and lay it out in order, just like I did in the post that I made on Vans Air Force. Okay, here I've laid out the things that I had in my survival bag, and hopefully we would never need these things, but it's certainly better to be prepared. First and foremost, if you head out on a trip, be sure you take any medications with you that you or your passenger might normally take on a daily basis. Heart medications, blood pressure medications, thyroid medicine, just to mention a few. Also, a little Ziploc bag with some Tylenol and Advil sprinkled in here. That certainly is no cost and no weight penalty, and nice to have in the event that you're found out in the middle someplace. First and foremost of importance is water. The average human can only go about 3 or 4 days without water before it begins to take its toll on us, especially if we're a little older. It hits us a little faster. Throw some water in the back of the airplane, several water bottles, and when you go through those, don't discard the bottles. You'll need the bottles to put more water in as you come across it. Also, if you're out long enough, there's these little deals like this that you can get. This is water purification filters that you can drink straight out of streams, ponds, mud puddles. Any source of fresh water you can find, you can pass through this. This is based on the principles of hemodialysis with ultrafine filtration filters. It filters out 99.99999% of all contaminants. Once you get those things out, the water is probably okay to drink. It will not filter out salt water. You can't use salt water or chemicals. But if you can get enough water to fill up a bottle, then you can also add the water purification tablets. And I think after about 4 hours, those kill anything that might be left in the bottle, and your water is essentially pure at that point. Almost no cost and no weight penalty. These are the things I consider essential for going out on a cross country and crossing any kind of desolate terrain whatsoever. The next thing would be food. How do you get food out? Well, the best thing would be to take some with you. But we're not going to always take a bunch of sandwiches or chips and everything along. But it's easy to get a pack or two of crackers with 8 or 10 of them, 8 or 10 packs in there, and some candy bars. Those things high in carbs, high in protein, and if you find yourself out for an extended period of time, rationing those things, you can go a pretty long time, and that's a good thing. Other things, little bitty fishing kits with some hooks, could come in handy. I think there's this line has got, the line is certainly handy, and there's some kind of a fishing kit inside there. And just some string, general string for stringing up whatever. Shelter is another important one. You don't ever want to be out and end up wet, because once you're wet, what is already a horribly bad situation becomes much, much worse. Something as simple as a plastic poncho. I think I got this for $1 at Academy Sports, and all this stuff you can get like a sporting goods store like that, or even Walmart or Amazon. But these ponchos, just to keep the rain off of you if it's raining. And of course, if you're going out on a camping trip, you're going to have a tent. Don't skip here. Once again, being high and dry is absolutely priceless in the event of an off-airport landing. Moving on here, the next most important thing probably is it would be the ability to start a fire for heat, warmth, drying out wet clothes, and it's very important. Start off something like a pencil sharpener. You can take a stick and you put it in here, and it makes the little shavings, and they are excellent little kindling. They start pretty quick to get the bigger fire going. Also, waterproof matches, a Bic lighter, and I had a friend of mine, I have a friend that's in the Coast Guard, and he told me one of the best things is Vaseline impregnated cotton balls. And that's what this is. I've got several of those wrapped in foil inside a Ziploc bag. Another approach to the exact same thing is chapstick and Q-tips. And I've tried this, and it works like a champ. Open your chapstick up, crank it up a little bit, and get that Q-tip saturated with the wax on the end. Pull it out, fluff it out a little bit, put it down, and then you can use your little fire stick here, and they light right up and burn for a few minutes, plenty long to get that kindling going and get a fire going. Between the matches, the Bic lighter, the fire stick, the Vaseline impregnated gauze, you should never not be able to start a fire. Moving along here, last but certainly not least is a way to communicate. Hopefully you've told your family what you're doing, where you're going, the route of flight. You filed a flight plan, you've used flight following, and you've made a Mayday call, and maybe the ELT is doing what it should. But in a situation like this, it's good to be a pessimist and think that none of those things, for some reason or other, worked, and you have to be your own savior. For those reasons, I didn't get it out here because I don't keep it in the emergency survival kit, but I've got a VHF radio that I carry. And be familiar with it. Don't try to figure it out once you're down on the ground, because your mind kind of doesn't function the same in a crisis situation as it does, when you're sitting at home looking at something and figuring it out. Also, whistles. This is one of the most estimated as far as importance of anything I've seen. I've got a whistle on the outside of my bag. I've got an emergency whistle hanging on the carburetor heat in my airplane. I've got a whistle in the glove box of my car. A whistle is an invaluable tool to let others know where you are. And here's a good example. If you are hurt, injured, or lost, and you're screaming at the top of your lungs, the human voice is only good for about 600, 700, 800 feet. I read that online. A whistle can beat that 10 times over. And that's a good ways, over a mile. These two whistles in particular are supposedly the world's loudest, and I got those just so I would have them, and I can say they are indeed louder than any of the whistles I can get up here. This one here is called the Fox 40 Sonic Blast, and it's very loud. This one here, I believe, is a little bit louder, and it's called the Storm. And I'm going to have both of these inside my kit. And in the event of, that you are crash landed somewhere in the woods or in the mountains or whatever, and you can't yell very loud, you're injured, blow the whistle. Another thought, and I don't have one of those here, is if you can't blow the whistle, another good thing to have is those air horns. They make them not, any bigger around than that, and they, the ones you use at ball games and stuff, incredibly loud, and will, guaranteed to go for a mile or two to help you be discovered. Another thought here is earplugs. This orange whistle here, this Storm one, actually hurts my ears if I blow it as hard as I can. So I decided to put a set of earplugs in there too. Be sure and have one for your passenger as well. Other very useful things to have, certainly tools of some sort, multi-tool, a compass. If you decide to venture away from the crash site, Conventional wisdom is it's better to stay put. But, you know, if there's a road that you know is 5 miles back and you're not injured bad enough and you can make it, that's a personal choice. Now, those are what I consider the essentials. Here are a few things that are that may make the unfortunate event a lot more pleasant. I'll go through these quickly. Some bug repellent, self-explanatory. Sunscreen, again, self-explanatory. A little notebook and a pencil. One of the videos I saw of somebody lost in the wilderness, they left notes, and indeed the notes helped the rescuers to get to them. A little survival book. This one here was about $8 or $9, but there's information in here that is not common information that we don't carry around. Maybe food to eat, you know, that's safe from, or fruits from certain trees or whatever, how to make shelters. Lots of good information that you're not going to be able to just figure out on your own. So, a good investment. Also very, very important, I believe, these are mosquito nets. A big one to sleep under and a small one to just put over your head in the event you decide to walk away from the aircraft and try to get out through the woods or whatever. These will keep the mosquitoes off of you. I don't know about the gnats, but at any rate, just getting the mosquitoes off of you will get you a good night's sleep. And a side note to the mosquito nets, I read lots of books when I was in the Navy written by the prisoners of war in Vietnam, and they said that when the guards wanted to torture them or punish them for something, they would take away their mosquito nets, and then they were at the mercy of the mosquitoes for days on end, and it was just unimaginably horrible. So I hope this is maybe give you some food for thought so that if you ever find yourself in that unfortunate position that you have to use your own gut instincts to survive, that's not the first day you ever thought about it. Hopefully, none of that will ever happen. But don't be caught off guard.